Hello.
Hello.
Yep. Good morning, Gary Apser.
All right.
This case opens with immediate tension, and not the loud, explosive kind, but the slow-burning type that builds as details start stacking up. What you're about to watch is a dispute that looks simple on the surface: a tenant, a landlord, and money that needs to be returned. But underneath that, there's something far more complex. Questions about legality, fairness, and whether one party is playing by the rules while the other feels completely blindsided. Judge Simpson is stepping into a situation where one side claims full compliance with the court's previous order, refund issued, documents sent, everything handled by the book. But the other side? They're not just disagreeing. They're confused, frustrated, and starting to feel like they've been singled out. And here's what makes this interesting. This isn't just about money anymore. It's about whether the property itself was even legal to rent in the first place. Because if it wasn't, that changes everything. Every payment, every agreement, every expectation. So now the real question becomes, is this a clean legal correction, or is something being handled selectively behind the scenes? Stay focused, because the next few minutes will start revealing cracks in one of these stories.
Okay, where are we on this case?
Well, when we last spoke, sir, you said I needed to refund whatever monies the defendant had paid when he first moved in. I sent over a certified letter to both the court and to him. His letter includes the check. It was around $1,500. The letter sent to the court showed a copy of my check. I checked with the UPS or the Postal Service this morning. The court received my letter on the August 1st. It included the copy of the check, the copy of the letter showing that the property was not certified, and a copy of the accounting from my client showing the amount of money I was told to refund. So the court signed for it on the 1st. The Postal Service says that one of those brown notices was left with Mr. Jackson's at his P.O. box, but as of this morning, he hasn't picked it up yet. But I've tendered to him the 1505 or 1510, whatever it was. I've tendered the entire amount back to him as the court directed. And again, this is a termination of tenancy based on the fact the property is not certified, so there was no request for any supplemental complaint.
I would like to say, like, if it is not like a cause to rent out, why is another person being rented? Another person is here, and another person was already here before I started. And what I like to say is, I feel like I'm really being picked on because just in, I think, June or May, he asked me to pay rent. I tried to pay him before, like last the time we came to court. I tried to pay him. He didn't text back. He didn't call. He didn't anything. So what I told him, I said, all right, I'll just wait till we go to court to show that I tried to pay you. So what I'm thinking is, I think he just got a lawyer and came up with something else smart that would make sense, because he knew that he was wrong, because I tried to pay him and he didn't contact me, didn't call back, anything. I tried to. And I don't get why I'm being targeted and it's someone else living here also. And they was living here before I came here.
This is the moment where the entire tone of the case shifts. Up until now, it's been structured, procedural, almost clinical. But right here, the emotion breaks through. The tenant isn't just arguing facts anymore. He's challenging intent. Because think about what he's claiming. He tried to pay rent, made an effort to stay compliant, and got nothing in return. No response, no acknowledgement. If that's true, it seriously weakens any argument that he failed in his responsibilities. And then comes the bigger issue. He feels targeted. That's not a small claim, especially when he points out that other people are still living in the same property. That creates a contradiction. If the property is not certified and legally unrentable, how are others still there? This is where cases like this get complicated. Courts deal in facts, but fairness always lingers in the background. Question to consider: if you were in his position, trying to pay, getting ignored, then being told to leave, would you feel like this was fair? Or does this feel like selective enforcement?
So I don't get I really don't get it. I really don't get it at all. Why I'm the only one being targeted. I tried to pay him. He didn't call back. He didn't text or anything. And he literally just texted me, I think probably May and June, and asked me and contacted me about the rent. So,
okay, Mr. Jackson, stop for a moment.
Yes, sir.
What do you mean that there's somebody moving in?
No, it was someone already here. His name is Joshua. Before I got here, it's somebody that's already here that's moved in. And it's two people that live here. It's roommates. Just for Joshua and it's me. Joshua was already here when I got here. So I don't get how is it not rentable and someone else just moved upstairs. Like these are condos that people buy and they rent out. So I don't get how that is that even possible or even logical when someone just the owner of a condo here just rented out to two people upstairs. And they told me to contact management.
Stop. Counsel, is that correct?
Your Honor, I understand that there are two people living in this unit, separate leases, and apparently the other person has agreed to move out. He's just there until the place vacates. Nothing to do with Mr. Jackson's tenancy. It was a separate lease, and we're simply asking that he be asked to leave.
All right. Mr. Jackson, how long will it take you to... I got the letter saying that it's not certified, so you can't stay there. There's a check for you.
Now we're getting into the legal backbone of this entire case, the certification issue. This is critical. If a property is not legally certified for rental use, then the landlord may not have had the legal right to rent it out in the first place. And if that's the case, it flips the entire situation. Instead of the tenant being in violation, the landlord could be the one who started this on unstable legal ground. That's why the refund is happening. It's not generosity, it's obligation. But here's where things don't fully line up. If the property is truly uncertified, then that rule should apply across the board. Every tenant, every lease, no exceptions. Yet, we're hearing that others are still living there. That creates doubt. Not legal proof, but enough to raise questions. Judge Simpson is listening carefully here. Not just to what's being said, but what's not being explained. Because sometimes what's missing is just as important as what's presented.
That I've got to make sure you get and that it clears. How long will it take you to vacate, sir?
Another thing is, it was first month rent and deposit, and I paid November. So it should be like $1,800. It should be like $1,815.
You paid... No...
First month's rent and deposit was $605, and rent was $605. And
according to the landlord, he paid $300 towards the that next month's rent. So that was, I attached the ledger given to me by my client, sir.
All right, so I have $605 paid security deposit, and then $300 payment, and that's October, and then November's rent of $605, which comes to the $1,510.
Yeah, but I gave him I gave him for the deposit $605 for their first month deposit and rent.
Well, I have October. You paid a total of $905. Which was a payment of $300 and then $600 security deposit. Right?
No, I paid $600 deposit and $600 for the rent, and then I paid November.
Well, I only have $300 paid that first month for rent.
Okay, I really just want this to be over. I'm tired of this landlord.
All right. So when can you? The check is there. When can you vacate?
I don't have a check though. Where do I pick the check up at? Like something came here. So
I think it's a PO box that he sent it to.
I don't have a PO box.
The address on the pleading, sir, was for Mr. Jackson. Was the apartment number 1 at the Packard Road address. That's where I sent the check to.
Okay, that's where he sent it. But did you get that check, sir?
No, they left me an orange ticket that said I had to sign for something, and I never got it.
This right here is a breakdown in execution, and it matters more than it seems. The landlord claims the refund was sent. The court received its copy. Everything looks complete on paper. But the tenant? He doesn't even have the money yet. And in legal terms, that's a problem. Because compliance isn't just about sending something, it's about ensuring it actually reaches the intended party. Until that check is in his hands and cleared, the issue isn't fully resolved. This is why Judge Simpson immediately steps in with practical guidance. Go to the post office, retrieve it, get it processed. He's not interested in letting this drag out over technicalities. What's interesting here is how quickly the focus shifts from who's right to how do we finish this. That tells you the judge sees this as a case that needs closure, not escalation.
Okay, then you got to go to the post office.
Okay, will it still be there from that day, or will it be shipped back?
Oh,
or...
it should be. It was just a few days ago because the court got theirs. My timestamp is the 2nd, so I'm sure it's still at the post office.
Okay. I would like to ask, when is the other Joshua moving out? Like, when is he moving out? Because if this is no one can live here, I think it's fair that we both have to leave.
Counsel, when is the other tenant moving? When is the other tenant moving out?
I wasn't given a date. I was simply told that when Mr. Jackson was out, the other tenant would move out at essentially the same time, but we didn't know when Mr. Jackson was actually going to be out. So I don't have a date soon. Sorry.
All right. Okay. Here's what we're going to do. I'm adjourning this out 2 weeks. You got to figure out your move out date, Mr. Jackson. Maybe you can ask the guy upstairs or whatever. And you need to pick up the check, get it to the bank or wherever you do that so that it can get cash. Okay?
All right.
This is the resolution phase, and Judge Simpson handles it with precision. Instead of allowing more back and forth, he imposes a clear timeline, 2 weeks. That does 2 things. First, it forces the tenant to secure the refund and prepare to move out. Second, it gives the landlord a window to ensure everything is properly finalized. Notice how the judge avoids diving deeper into the dispute about other tenants. That's intentional. He's narrowing the scope of the case to what can actually be resolved right now. This is how experienced judges operate. They cut through noise and focus on outcomes. But here's the lingering question. Even if this case closes cleanly, does it fully answer the fairness concerns raised earlier, or does it simply resolve the legal minimum required?
So the 18th. So this will be adjourned to August 18th, 2023, 9 a.m. Thank you.
Your Honor, what's the purpose? Is the purpose of the adjournment to make sure the check clears? I guess I didn't follow the reason for the adjournment.
Well, the reason for the adjournment is to try to get a move out time because the whole building won't be empty, and also to make sure he gets the check and that it clears.
Okay. I just want to make sure, because if it's a matter of the check, that's fine, but I don't have a timeline for the other tenant, but I can get one.
Thank you. Triple R Development versus.
Good morning, Your Honor. Attorney Rebecca Haynes appearing on behalf of Triple R.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Go ahead. What's your name, sir?
Julio Perez.
All right. And are you part of JP Torch and Demolition?
Well, yes.
Pardon?
Yes.
Okay. So let me ask this first thing. Is that a corporation?
No, sir. When I moved in, I wasn't my name. It was never been under JP Torchin. It's always been Julio Perez. It's never been JP Torchin when I moved into the place.
When you moved into what place?
In 8325 Chop Road.
Okay. So you rented the place?
Yes, sir.
Counsel?
Yes, Your Honor.
So was the lease Is
No.
there a lease? I guess my first question.
No, sir, there's no lease.
No, Your Honor, there's no official lease. There was an agreement between my client and she's also here on the Zoom as well, to lease the space between Triple R Development.
Now the courtroom shifts into an entirely different case, and immediately there's a red flag. No official lease. That's a massive issue in any rental dispute, especially in a commercial setting. Without a formal lease, everything becomes harder to prove. Terms, obligations, payment structure. It opens the door for confusion, disputes, and conflicting interpretations. But then another layer appears. Payments were made through a business entity, JP Torching. That introduces legal separation. Now it's not just a person involved, it's a company. And that distinction matters, because in court, a company is treated as its own legal entity, which means different rules apply. This case is no longer just about unpaid rent. It's about legal structure, documentation, and who actually holds responsibility.
And to Mr. Perez's business, JP Torching and Demo, it's a commercial.
It was not a business. It was not to the business. It was to me, personally me, not the business. It was nothing to do with the business. What I paid with, when I was paying the last check as was given to them, it was with the business company name. But before I always was paying them in cash. It never was to the business.
Okay. All right. So let me ask this. Is there any proof of any payment or anything on this? I mean,
Your Honor, rent was paid through October of 2022.
okay, and how did that rent get paid?
Your Honor, if I may defer to my client who is also here,
No, that's fine.
if she can answer that question.
It was through a check. We always got paid with a check.
Okay, so that check, whose name was on the check?
I would have to go back to my books from last year because that's the last time we've gotten paid was 9 months ago, was with a check.
Okay, and so
I don't remember if it was Julio. I don't know if it was Julio Perez that was on the check itself, and I don't know if I even made a copy of the check, but his daughters would always bring in a check.
Yeah, the check is on the JP Torching.
Okay.
Okay, so the check was from JP Torching.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So if the checks were in JP Torching, then the court could assume that that's who rented the premises, although it may be in your name. So there's $35,000 that they're claiming is owed at this point. Do you dispute that?
No,
sir?
Your Honor. No, I know I own the money because I know I got hurt.
Okay. So, all right. So then the next question that I have, what kind of entity is JP Torching? Is it an LLC? Is it just, what is it?
LLC.
It's an LLC.
Yes.
All right. So here's part of the problem. Part of the problem is you can't come in and represent it. I know you may be the only member, but the LLC, because it's in JP Torching's name, is going to have to be represented by a corporation.
What do you mean by a corporation?
I mean by an attorney.
Oh, okay.
The corporation has to be represented by an attorney.
Okay, and can you give me a couple of weeks until I find a lawyer that can help me, please?
Right. Yes, because I don't think you were informed of that at the last hearing. So I will adjourn this matter to the 18th, which is my next available day.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
2023, 9 a.m.
9 a.m.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
This final moment highlights a critical legal principle that many people don't realize until they're standing in court. You cannot represent an LLC without an attorney, even if you own the company, even if you're the only person in it. The law treats that business as separate from you, and that means it needs proper legal representation. The defendant here admits owing the money. That simplifies the dispute itself. But procedurally, the case can't move forward until the correct legal structure is followed. Judge Simpson handles this appropriately. He grants time to get legal counsel, not as a favor, but because that's how due process works. Looking at both cases together, one thing becomes clear. The courtroom isn't just about who's right or wrong. It's about who follows the rules correctly. Documentation, process, and legal structure. That's what ultimately drives outcomes. If you found this case as shocking as we did, make sure to hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more jaw-dropping courtroom breakdowns.